Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Robin. Robin, we can hear you.
Okay. We are going to start in a few. So welcome to the webinar. I'm excited to have you all here. Today we'll be talking about some revolutionary stuff. We're talking about the next level of research utilizing artificial intelligence. And I'm excited to share with you. I've been planning for a while, and I'm excited for what we'll be talking about today. So I'm hoping to be an interactive session. Kindly, I was requesting if you have a research question you'd want us to tackle during the webinar as an example. Kindly just type it in the group and I'll pick one or two. Because of time, we'll begin our webinar right now. Okay, so today we'll be talking about mastering AI-powered legal research for superior case preparation. And I'm your host, Robin Muthomi Mutiga. So, what is in our agenda today? Kindly just allow me to Can you see the screen? Okay, so let's begin. So on our plate today, we'll be talking about mastering AI-powered legal research for superior case preparation. And on our agenda today, we have first an introduction, a simple introduction of who I am. I'm hoping to do this as quickly as possible. I know most of you are currently at work, so strictly 1 hour for this. So we'll talk about, I'll introduce myself, who am I, why am I even talking about this topic, and then we'll go through an overview of artificial intelligence over the past 7 years, just to give us maybe a good context of what to expect or why we're even having this discussion in the first place. And then after that, we'll talk about a very crucial topic, how not to utilize artificial intelligence for legal research, the pitfalls, how you may go wrong, and we'll give an example of attorneys in the United States who, and other areas also, who actually found themselves in hot soup because of, a bit of ignorance here and there. Then we'll talk about how to use artificial intelligence for legal research. I'll be introducing a new concept to you guys called semantic search, how it works, and why it could be the reason that you save up to 200 hours this year on legal research. And then after that, I know most of you will be waiting for that. The meat of the discussion will be on search and analysis tools. I'll be breaking them down into two. When you're doing legal research, you need to first find the case law that assists you, and then you need to find the case law that will help you in analysis. So we'll talk about that. And then most importantly, we'll talk about ethical considerations and best practices for utilizing artificial intelligence in your legal research. So allow me to begin with a simple introduction. I'm Robin Muthomi Mutiga. I'm a lawyer. I'm an advocate in training. So I consider myself a legal technologist, which is not a term most of you have probably heard of or even, I know, imagined it exists, but I'm hoping it's a title that will continue growing as we continue to see the immense and drastic changes we're seeing in the profession. So I'm a legal technologist in Kenya. I have a very deep passion integrating artificial intelligence as well as technology into the practice of law. So my journey is driven by a desire to empower Kenyan lawyers to modernize their practices, making them more efficient, more cost-effective, and most importantly, client-centered. So just a simple bio on me, I'm currently an advocate in training. I just recently completed my postgraduate program at the Kenya School of Law. I'm serving my pupillage at Kigwatha and Company Advocates. I hold an LLB from the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Kwea. And I found myself immersed in programming during the pandemic, which was mostly inspired by my big brother Ian. Shout out Ian. I found myself really engaged into front-end development. That gave birth to a few projects, which I briefly want to share with you. So some projects I'm proud of. First, on your right is iFarm. iFarm is a tool I built on myself. It's a legal practice management suite that I built with absolutely no code tools. Why no code tools? Because well, the development of software usually is quite expensive, takes a lot of time, and more often than not, you'll find that it doesn't meet exact needs that your firm requires. So to cater for that, I ensured that I built this tool with no code to ensure that it's efficient, affordable, and fully customizable for your law firm needs. And then with automation at its core, iFirm simplifies the repetitive yet crucial tasks like client communication, billing, just putting them in autopilot with if-then protocols. If this happens, then this happens. If that happens, then that happens. That's just simply how it works. Then the other project I'm really proud of, still working on it currently, it's called Sharia Search on your left. So, and this is what actually brings me to this webinar where I feel I could be the best person to talk about this topic. The beginning of last year, I started a startup called, actually, end of last year, but when I started a startup called Sharia Search, which is an AI-powered legal research platform where me and my team developed to address the growing demand for more effective, faster legal research. So this project was inspired by my curiosity about artificial intelligence since its inception in 2020. So today I'm going to be opening the back doors. I'm going to be giving you secrets on how we actually went about building this platform, still building it. You know, startups are not the easiest thing to do, but neither are law firms. But I'll be giving you the cheat code. We'll go to the technical details on how this platform was developed, how we're currently developing it, and the free alternatives that exist out there that you can start leveraging today to transform the way you do your legal research. So with that, I'm going to kindly request that I turn off my camera so that you can easily just in case there is an issue with the internet. Again, I want to make this as swift as possible because I know most of us, it's just the beginning of the day. So, and hopefully today you're going to live with some strategies that 99.9% of lawyers who have not attended here today still don't know and still probably would know, and which will really help you as you progress. So let's start very briefly. So an overview of AI. I broke this down in terms of research papers. You know, we are lawyers, we're very authoritative, and we require authoritative papers or statements to really understand what is really going on. And I broke it down to 6 papers that have really shaped the entire industry of the artificial intelligence since 2017 till 2025. The first paper I'll be talking about is the Attention is All You Need paper by 2017. In 2017, and I'll do this briefly just to give you a concept, a context of what is happening and why you should be really alert, because I believe things are changing quite drastically and we need to be absolutely on our toes. So, in 2017, Google released this paper and it led to the transformer revolution. So it introduced the transformer architecture. The transformer is the T in ChatGPT. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And the transformer architecture was actually developed by Google in a paper in 2017. So the key innovation here was self-attention mechanisms, which allowed AI to better understand relationship between words. So previously we had RNN, which meant that the AI was able to understand text, but it wasn't able to understand text that, for example, it's a long sentence. It couldn't understand relationship between texts that was far away from each other. So this solved that. And this led to improved machine translation, text summarization, chatbots, and content generation. And then in 2020, which I say is the birth year of AI, well, not particularly the birth year, but this is the year we started seeing much impacts. While most of us were in COVID, very revolutionary things were happening in the background. This was when in 2020 is when OpenAI released another paper called Language Models are Few Short Learners. So what this paper basically meant was it had two major breakthroughs. The first one was that they understood that if you train AI on more and more data, it's going to get increasingly better at scale, and this could be testable. So GPT-3 was launched with a massive 1.7 billion parameters, meaning it was, to put that in context, it's like 175 million documents that it was trained on, for context. So this really changed how these language models that were first, the transformers that were first introduced by Google, how they work. So I'm going to be a bit faster here. So it introduced few shot learning as well, which meant that if you give AI a few examples, or these transformers a few examples of how to do a specific thing, it could do it very easily. So this led to code generation, content creation, and chatbots. And then we move again in 2020, another paper by Google, which was called AlphaFold. So AlphaFold really just helped solve the protein structure prediction problem. It takes a lot of time to predict how a protein structure will fold. Material scientists will take probably 2 years. A graduate material scientist take approximately 2 years to understand how this works. And AI was able to do this pretty fast. And the implications of this were actually big. So it will lead to drug discovery, because we're still actually experiencing these developments and not really realize them fully in our practice. And this is why I'm even doing these discussions. So it will lead to drug discovery, disease understanding, and biotechnology. And then again in 2022, Google also released another paper called AlphaCode, which is a competition level code generation with AlphaCode. That was what the paper was called. So this just helps understand how AI systems were able to be competitive at programming. When it was first released at AlphaCode 1, it ranked at top 54% of programmers, programming competition participants. But later in 2023 with AlphaCode 2, I think it ranked among the 90th percentile. So the implications of this, of course, are great. It will increase also, still increasing, software development, education, and research. And then this year, there were two papers. At the very beginning of the year, Google released another paper called Titans. This is basically going to help AI understand or improve the memory it has. It enhances AI memory management. So this will help AI be able to understand things easier and have a long-term and short-term memory as we do as humans. And then something happened last week. DeepSeek R1, it's been all over the internet. I'm not sure if you've seen it. A Chinese model was released last week on Thursday, and it's caused havoc in the stocks, in the US stock exchange, and everywhere, literally. So they really just understood with this paper, DeepSeek R1 incentivizing reasoning capabilities in large language models via reinforcement learning. They launched two things here. First, that if you give AI more time to think about a problem, it will be better at solving that specific problem. So it could take 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, depending on the complexity of the problem, and it becomes better. Another thing, they also discovered that it can train itself. DeepSeek R1 is actually currently free, and it's at the level of if not better than O1, which is OpenAI's best models, which goes for $20 a month. So they realized that this is actually one of the first AI models that could able to train itself with no human at all. If you can imagine that the impacts it will have significant impacts, because these AIs will be able to retrain themselves and get better and better over time. So if you want to learn more about this, I'll share this slide as well as this paper, so you can get deeper and deeper into this. And I hope this gives you a good understanding of where we are coming from. But let's get into the meat of this. So in last year, the end of last year, research was conducted by the attorneys of the National Legal Research Group in the United States, and they found very peculiar things. Okay, traditionally the legal profession has always been perceived as steeped in tradition. but it's undergoing a rapid transformation fueled by the rise of artificial intelligence. In the last 2 years, AI has made significant inroads into legal research, impacting how lawyers access, analyze, and utilize legal information. This was some of the key findings of this research paper, or rather this study. The first one is by Clio. Clio found that 79% of legal professionals are actually leveraging artificial intelligence for their legal work. This is a real jump from the year before, 2023, where it was only 19%. So if you're not using AI, rest assured that your opposing counsel is definitely doing it. And then the other finding was that 24.5%, that is, lawyers leveraging artificial intelligence technology, were able to complete their research tasks 24.5% faster. This tabulated into time approximately goes to 180 to 210 hours per year. You can only imagine what you can do with that time. Another finding was that 92% of lawyers using artificial intelligence for legal work reported an improvement in the quality of their work. Another finding was that 45% of lawyers who believed they would have missed an important or critical precedent if they had only done traditional legal research. And this study was done using current AI tools that are mostly used in the United States, including Casetext, which was acquired by Thomas Reuters 2 years ago for $500 million, thereabout, and Thomas Reuters itself. So I will show you how these tools actually work and where you can get free alternatives to start utilizing today. So let's get into the meat of this. How not to use artificial intelligence for legal research. So I'm going to lead you to this case, Mata versus Avianca Inc. in 2023. This is just one of very many cases. So in this personal injury lawsuit, one of the plaintiff's attorneys, Stephen A. Schwartz, used ChatGPT to supplement his legal research. However, Judge P. Kevin Castell discovered that 6 of the cases cited in the plaintiff's brief were fabricated by the AI chatbot. These fictitious cases included fabricated judicial decisions, quotes, and internal citations. You can imagine the embarrassment, the kind of implications that this comes with. And this is one of the reasons why I felt this discussion is very, very timely, because these tools are out there. They're actually changing how we practice law. And if used wrongly, they could lead to major, major implications. And it is very, very important that we learn how to utilize these tools efficiently and effectively. We have 2 options here. We can either ignore that this, take up the role of the proverbial frog in the boiling water that never realizes that the water is getting hotter and hotter, and by the time it realizes it's too late. Or we could just use these tools anyhow and find ourselves in the situation of the attorneys at Mata versus Avianca. Or we could together simply understand how these tools can be used, how they cannot be used, and from there leverage our practice strategically and in a way that increases our efficiency. So this is what the learned judge had to say. Technological advances are commonplace, and there is nothing inherently improper about using a reliable artificial intelligence tool for assistance. A reliable artificial intelligence tool for assistance. But existing rules impose a gatekeeping role on attorneys to ensure the accuracy of their filings. Judge P. Kevin Castell. So what I'll be trying to do here is help you understand how we can increase the accuracy and reliability of the content that we search. So to get into that, I will do a simple introduction of large language models and explain why exactly you should not be using large language models to do your legal research, specifically finding the case laws, because it will hallucinate. And this is why. Okay, at its core, a large language model works like a highly sophisticated pattern recognition system. This is basically like your auto predict on your phone, but with millions of dollars of compute and millions of data processed into it, making it extremely capable. Okay, it's a simple system, but it makes it absolutely incredible. So it processes text by breaking it down into smaller pieces, like words or parts of words, and uses a complex network of connections to understand how these pieces typically relate to each other. So through training on vast amounts of text, it learns to predict what words should come next in a given context. So basically, they just imagine what would be the best thing to say in this scenario. And okay, the argument of whether this is actually intelligence or not is for another day, and many people are actually having it. But we will get into that. But let's understand that basically there is a difference between artificial intelligence and large language models. There are very many architectures under the artificial intelligence brackets, and one of them is large language models, which examples include OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, or Anthropic's Cloud. These are examples of large language models, and these are exactly how you should not utilize artificial intelligence for the purposes of trying to find case laws to meet your specific goal. Okay? And these are the strengths and weaknesses of large language models. First, the strengths, it's a versatile tool. It can, from one conversation thread, it can go from an engineering question into a mathematics question, into a material science question, and it's very versatile in that manner. The other thing, it understands context very easily, and it has contextual generation. It can respond to the context that you give it. Third, the strength, it understands natural language very easily like a human, and that's why if you've used the OpenAI advanced voice mode or other voice modes, you can see the conversation is like talking to another human being. But here are the limitations. First, it has limited retrieval capabilities. This means it has limited ability to retrieve information stored somewhere. Or for instance, case laws that are in Kenyan law. Although this is changing with the inception of search tools in OpenAI. And another thing I've learned in AI is nothing is absolute. You can't say this tool can't do this absolutely. Sometimes this is due to change. And how fast it changes, only God can tell. So another weakness is that it lacks real-time data. You see sometimes these large language models are told that it is capped at 2024 July. It has no understanding beyond that. And third, and most importantly, there is a very big issue with information accuracy. Some of this has been touted as hallucination. It comes up with information that is non-existent. And this goes to the core of the weakness of using large language models for the purposes of legal research. So should large language models be used in legal context? And I know when I say LLMs, some of you are actually pursuing your masters or thinking about it. And I'm not talking about masters today, we're talking about large language models. So should large language models be used in legal contexts? Yes, but with caution. You can use them for drafting. LLMs can assist in drafting documents with contextual relevance and versatility. Two, yes, you can use them for summarizing information. They're really good at information summary, and they can effectively summarize information that can lead to aiding in legal research. Three, and most importantly, you should use them with extreme caution when it comes to citations, when it comes to actually trying to find the data, not to analyze the data. So there is potential of inaccuracies and lack of real-time data, which is a real pitfall when it comes to legal research. So, how should you use artificial intelligence for legal research? And this is where I'm going to introduce a new architecture. We've talked about large language models or LLMs. This is called retrieval augmented generation or RAG. This is exactly the kind of architecture that we use to build Sharia search. So, what is retrieval augmented generation? It is like giving a large language model its own private law library to reference. When you ask it a question, the RAG first searches through the custom database of documents to find the relevant information and then uses this specific information alongside its general knowledge to form an answer. So this makes responses more accurate, more verifiable, since the model can ground its answers in specific sources rather than relying solely on training data, as we saw with LLMs. So RAG is an architecture that was built specifically for retrieving information. It's called retrieval augmented generation. So it is better for retrieval, and you can see as in this flowchart, you ask a prompt, it turns that text into a readable text to the computer, and then it matches that text using semantic search. Semantic search basically means searching with context, searching similarity. For instance, usually these databases are called vector databases. These vector databases actually just put every information that is closely related to each other closer, and information that is not well related to each other farther away from each other. So this means if you put a prompt, it will go through the database, find the information that is most closely related to the question you asked, and then retrieve those documents that are closely relevant to the prompt that you gave it, and then it creates an answer, generates a response from what it's found in the database. And the beauty of this is that it ties its answers directly to the sources that you've provided it into. And some of the best retrieval augmented generation softwares usually come with citations, giving you precisely where this information is coming from. And I'll give you examples of how to do this. And as we proceed, please kindly just type in your research questions into the chat so that we can see. I see Leila has added one. Just add your questions there, and we will just test it out and see how it works in real time. Okay. So, what are the strengths and weaknesses of retrieval augmented generation? First, the strengths. It has contextual relevance. So whether you're working as an advocate, whether you're working as an engineer, whether you're working as a doctor or physician, the information you give it goes to that. It's contextual and relevant in that sense. If you give it information regarding rocket science, it will be primed for that. The other strength is that its information is current, but this also comes with a caveat. The better the information you give it, the better it can reproduce, or rather, the better it can help you with your research purposes. And then the other strength, it has enhanced accuracy. As I said, some of the best softwares out there, you'll see that they come with citations. Some of them even come with highlights. This is what we're trying to build with Sharia Search. Basically, have a vector database with all the reported cases in Kenya and Africa and beyond. And you could actually just do your research using that contextual understanding that AI has. Currently we use keyword research, which just to, keyword research has its beauty, but also has its weaknesses. For one, if you try to search with keyword search and you search the word murder, it will just give you 1,000 documents or 5,000 documents that just have that word murder. Doesn't matter what that murder has to do with, or another thing, you could be researching on manslaughter, but it doesn't understand the relationship between the word murder and manslaughter. So with contextual relevance and the understanding that comes with semantic search, it will be able to understand what your query actually means. Just imagine Kenya law understood what you're trying to find, rather than you trying to, decipher what is actually relevant and what is not. So the weaknesses: potential latency, the data quality dependency, as I said, that's the caveat, and the complexity of actually building this software or building this architecture. This is something I've experienced firsthand with building Sharia Search. But because we are lawyers, we're legal professionals, we don't really need to go into building these technologies. I will show you how you can leverage these tools for free, like reducing the weaknesses on this side. You can get pre-built softwares that you can start utilizing today. And we'll talk about also data privacy and other ethical concerns that come with that. Okay, so this is the meat now of the discussion. We'll talk about I've talked about retrieval augmented generation, and I've classified this into three: search tools, analysis tools, and deep analysis tools. So we'll start with search tools. So search tools are basically, you are trying to find the needle in the haystack, so that you can, help you. You need the exact precedent to help you sort the current legal problem you're dealing with. So search tools helps you locate the raw materials. In legal research, this includes databases like EKLR, Law Africa, statutes, or other keyword-driven platforms that sift through Kenyan case law legislation and journals. So such tools basically just help you find, they're the first step in your to complete your legal research. You need to find that, needle. So we use such tools to identify the relevant precedents, e.g. land disputes in the environment and land court archives, or constitutional provisions. Without these such tools, you're rummaging blindly through a haystack. So there are two tools I'll give you an example here with, and we'll start by doing the research shared with you, the research questions shared on the group. The first one is perplexity.ai. I think most of you have used it before. The other one, that's a free, although it has a paid version, but it's a free tool. The other one we'll be talking about is Google Gemini with deep research, and we'll be testing. This is a paid software, but I'll show you an example of how to use it today, and it's actually changed the way I think about these things. So if you've never seen Perplexity before, which I believe most of us have, so this is basically Perplexity. You go to perplexity.ai. As you can see here, answers you can trust, answers that are accurate and always cited. You continuously search the internet and find the best sources for academic research, to ready threads to provide the perfect answer to any question. Citations in every response. So basically how this tool works is it scours through the internet, goes through websites, goes through scholarly articles, reads them, adds them into a database, and then answers questions from that. It's still RAG, but with search added into it. So you can just try this in perplexity.ai, and yeah, let's see how it works. So I'm now scouring for questions. Let's see. Yes, let's use Leila's question. So, state-centric nature of criminology and its impact on indigenous people. Given that it is the state that determines criminology's subject matter, the discipline tends to ignore the often oppressive and violent nature of the state itself. What is the relationship between indigenous people and the criminal justice system? Wow, that's a beautiful question. So we'll use two tools now. We'll use Perplexity and Gemini with deep research. Let me show you how Gemini looks like. And with both, we'll see how these tools work. Find us case laws. But I think this is not really a legal question that requires case law. But let's see what it says. Okay. So to access Gemini with deep research, you'll need to give up a bit of money. It's 3,700 a month, but I think they have discounts for the first trial. I think goes for like 1,850 if you use it for the first month. And to use it, you just come here and you pick 1.5 Pro with deep research. So I'll just copy paste these two questions as they are. And if you have other questions, please proceed to share them in the group or in the chat. Sorry. So let's see how Gemini does and how Perplexity does. So let's start with Perplexity. Let's start with Perplexity. Okay. So let's try with the Pro version. I think they added DeepSeek here. Okay. So Pro search. Okay, you went directly to the answer. Criminology is a discipline primarily based on the relationship between crime, societal norms, and the legal relationship established by the state. Impact on indigenous people, systemic marginalization, historical context. Okay, this one didn't come with citations. Let's try that again. And as we use these tools, ensure. Okay, this goes directly to the answer. This is not what we want. We want it to go through the different journal articles and the different articles on the internet, and then you can filter them yourself. Let's see how Gemini Advanced with Deep Research works. So basically, you give it the question, it breaks it down into a research plan. It tells you this is what you're going to do. We're going to start here and then do here and then do this. As you can see here, you see it starts with find scholarly articles discussing the state-centric nature of criminology, find research papers analyzing the impact of state-centric criminology on indigenous people, find historical accounts, find contemporary reports, find scholarly works, and just tells you what the plan, how it's going to do this research. And then when you click start research, it's going to take a few minutes because it's going to be scouring through the internet, as I said, and looking through journal articles, looking for articles, looking for anything authoritative that might guide this research. And at the end, it's going to produce a report, which is going to guide us, or guide you rather, on the kind of research you'd want to be done. As you can see here, it's searching 31 websites. These are the websites it's going through. I've seen it do, I'm seeing websites from ResearchGate, journals, Journal of Global Indigeneity, University of Arizona, ResearchGate. These are all the websites going through, and more are also coming. So yes, so this is the search tool, the very fast search tool. Anyone else with a research question? Okay, what is the current position in Kenya, in Kenyan law in regards to the use of LLMs and data protection? I understand this is a concern that okay. Okay, yeah, we can use that. We can use that as our second question. And this one I'll be, yes, Dr. Charles. What is it? Dr. Charles asked, malicious prosecution in Kenya. Research focuses on the challenges plaintiffs face proving malice and the lack of reasonable and probable cause in Kenyan courts, including success rates, judicial interpretation, prosecutorial immunity, and potential biases. And then the other question is constructive trust. Kenya research examines the elements required to establish a constructive trust in Kenya, including common scenarios, remedies, and the balance of equity and certainty, the role of evidence, and influencing factors. Oh, so sorry. So you haven't seen how Perplexity works. Thank you for that, Violet. Yes. Sorry about that. This is Gemini Advanced. Let's go back. So this is what I did. I asked it the question, I just copy pasted it there. It gave a research plan of what it's going to do. This is the research plan. You can either approve it or edit the plan, but I just said start a research. And then now it's covering through the internet, going through scholarly articles, through blogs, through everything it can find on the internet on the subject. Then at the end, it's going to produce a report. As you can see here on the left-hand side, it's actually generating a report. But let's try one more question with Google, with Gemini Deep Research, as that one is still in the oven baking because it takes some time. So let's take this one, constructive trust in Kenya. Okay. Yeah, let's do this one. On this one, I'll tell it I'll tell it exactly how I want the report to come out. So I want the report to come out as a legal opinion. The elements required to establish a contract trust. Then I'll add here at the end site. So let's go. I want you to see how it did it the last time. I see time is really running. Okay, so it gives you a report, as you can see. It breaks it down. Find the definition of constructive trust in Kenya. Find the elements required to establish constructive trust. Find common scenarios. Find remedies. Find legal provisions in the Kenyan Constitution and other laws. Find articles, legal opinions. It says these are all the steps it's going to go through from 1 to 10 before it generates the report. So I'm just going to click start research. Hopefully this is not going to take a lot of time because there are other tools, specifically the analysis tools, that I want us to tackle. Okay. So the research is still ongoing. Let's see what. Okay, this one is doing 17 websites. This is from MWC. This is Cliff Decker Homefire. MWC. See a Supreme Court decision with Shah and another Gun Control Act, CM Digest. Okay. Let's go back to this one and see what's happening here. So I think it's done. Yeah, it's done. So the state-centric nature of criminology and its impact on indigenous people. So you can open this in Docs. You can have this directly in your Google Docs. But this is what it generated with citations. You can have it directly on your Word, and you can work from there. You see, let me share the Word document. Okay. So I hope you can see. Yes. So after I did the research, it provides a report which goes directly to this is Google Docs. We can start seeing that it has its own footnotes. It says state-centric bias in criminology. Traditionally, criminology, I know we won't get time to go through it, but I'll share this also in the group. Those who are in the group, I'm seeing something here in In South Wales, Australia, Aboriginal people constitute just 3.5% of the population and 6.2% of the population aged 10 to 17, but they comprise more than 30% of the adult prison population and 50% of the youth detention population. This stark overrepresentation highlights the system bias within the criminal justice system. And you see it goes through all these historical trauma and intergenerational harm, national agreement on closing the gap, target 10, target 11, I'm not sure what that is. Underlying causes of overrepresentation, historical interactions between indigenous people and state criminal justice systems, the relationship between indigenous peoples and criminal justice systems, obstacles to justice, the Canadian government's response, the Gerald Stanley case, alternative approaches to criminology. So it goes on and on and on and on. Policy implications and recommendations, conclusions, and then the work cited. All this directly tied. I think this is pretty cool, pretty cool. Especially if you really do not know a lot about a topic, you can actually have this as your very first step. So I know Leila will want this. Let me share the link to the chat. Okay, you can go through this. I've sent it to the group, or to the chat, sorry, and you can go through it. Okay, let's look at the legal opinion we were in the oven, constructive trust in Kenya. Quickly, legal opinion. So share this tab instead. So I'm seeing it's done. The legal opinion on constructive trust in Kenya. Elements requiring to establish a constructive trust. It utilizes the FIRAC method and analyzes the legal framework, common scenarios, remedies, and influencing factors related to constructive trust. So the issues are the rules, the relevant law, definition of constructive trust, land sale agreements, common scenarios, has citations here. This is from Clef Decker Hoffmeyer. This is statutory provision, section 41, the LSA, section 40, article 40 of the Constitution, article 24, equity and certainty, the role of evidence, all with citations, influencing factors, analysis of case law. It has Shah and 7 others versus Mombasa Bricks Limited and 5 others. In this case, the Supreme Court of Kenya held that a constructive trust could be imposed on a company shares where a shareholder acquired them through unconscionable conduct. So the court emphasized the importance of equity and justice in remedying wrongdoing both in land transactions. Another case, Union de Banques Arabes and Francaise versus Chessbacks. I know I just butchered that. The case involved the application of the quis close trust, a type of constructive trust where funds are given for a specific purpose. We'll not be able to analyze this specifically, but I'll share this as well, so that now I want us to go into the analysis tools. I want us to go into the analysis tools so we can also, this is the legal opinion, its conclusion, and the citations. So let's share this as well. I know time is of the essence. I really hope to go through at least one analysis tools, but specifically.
Kindly, Robin, may you also share this on constructive trust?
Yeah, I'm sharing right now. I'm sharing right now.
Yes.
Okay. Shared. You can check there. Okay, let me move quickly. I want us to analyze just this one case law, and I'll teach you this analysis tool called Notebook LM. I talked about it in the previous webinar we did on December. I was hoping I'd have more time to talk about it today, but it seems time is always an issue. Okay, So I've downloaded this. I want us to go to Notebook LM, to the analysis tools. So we've done Perplexity, we've done Google Gemini. I want us to go to the analysis tools. First, we'll start with this one called Marlin very quickly, and then Notebook LM. Please bear with me. Sorry. Okay. So let's find those case laws that were cited by Gemini. Specifically this one. Okay, I want to go to the link. Okay, let's go directly to Notebook because I'm seeing time is moving really quickly. So this is Notebook LM. It's a software that you can find on the browser. So just search notebooklm.google and you'll find it, or just search Notebook LM and it will be the first thing that pops out. Just come and click here, try Notebook LM, and then it will open to this page. So you create your first notebook. Having seen the research done with Google Deep Research, or the research done with Perplexity, you find you can upload a source. This is still a RAGs in architecture, as I explained, but this one now you can add very different types of sources. You can add your Google Docs, you can add your Google Slides, you can add a website or a link to a website, you can add a YouTube video, you can copy paste text, and you can see you can also upload a PDF, TXT, Markdown, audio, etc. So I want to upload that file from the Supreme Court decision on constructive trusts. And I want very quickly for us to go through this. As you can see, it's loading. So there are 3 tabs. The first one is the sources tab on your far left. This is where you add your sources. You click add source and you can add your sources directly from there. The second one is the chat interface. This is where you directly communicate with the documents. Once you click the sources guide, it can go directly into the document, and you can review the document directly from there. And as you can see here, it has a source guide. When you click this, it will give you a summary of the document. So this document is a judgment of the Supreme Court of Kenya in an appeal concerning a complex land and business dispute. The case revolves around a 205 land case and subsequent corporate restructuring, with the appellants arguing that the Court of Appeal wrongly imposed constructive trust over the land and company shares, thereby violating their property rights. So you see, it gives you a quick summary, and you can see the key topics here: land sale agreement. Because we are researching constructive trust, I'll click constructive trust and it will discuss constructive trust. You can see this is still a summary generated from the document. Now, this is the beauty of RAG. So discuss constructive trust. So a constructive trust is an equitable remedy imposed by a court against someone who has obtained property through wrongdoing. And then I'll click 1 and it will take us directly to here, to the citation of that where that directly comes from. And you can just move through the you see this is paragraph 69. You can see it highlights here on the left hand side. Click 5, it goes directly to the trustee cap. Laws of Kenya defines a trust extending and a trustee as extending to implied and constructive trust, the Black's Law Dictionary. So it will give you an answer. You ask any question, it will give you an answer directly from there, and citations, of course, with good measure. And you can now continue to ask more questions regarding the same. Explain the Court of Appeal's ruling. What are the legal principles governing land and share agreements? And again, it will give you an answer directly tied from the source document that you gave it. Okay. But I want to show you one of my favorite features on Notebook LM, which is the feature on the very far right. I see we have 2 minutes and it's taking a lot of time to load. So basically, let me just explain quickly what this does. Probably you'll not be able to go through it, but Notebook LM allows you to create like a podcast of this discussion. You can customize the discussion, or it can just have the conversation generated between two AIs. These are two individual voices. One is teaching, one is asking questions regarding the content that you've provided it with. And remember, with Notebook LM, you can add to up to 50 sources. This can help you do really in-depth research. They have a new feature that they launched in December called interactive mode, where you can join into the discussion. The two AIs are discussing the content, and you can join in, ask questions, interact with the discussion in such a way that you become the third person in the podcast. Imagine just listening to your podcast or your radio conversation or your lecture as you would in YouTube, but you're able now to converse with the content itself. So what you do to access this, because I'm seeing time is not on my side, could just come on the third what is it called, on the very far right. You will create audio overview. Right now you can see it's generating the conversation and saying this may take a few minutes, so no need to be here. But at the end of the day, it will create 10 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on how you customize it. You can go up to 60 minutes, an hour, or even 90 minutes. I've seen it go to that level, depending on the complexity of the discussion and what you really need from the discussion itself. And now the feature I was talking about is the ability to join in and talk with the hosts about the discussion. Now, we've moved from finding the needle in the haystack to actually trying to figure out if this is indeed the actual needle we need for a specific purpose. This is now what I call analysis tools. I was not able to demonstrate Marlin AI. Marlin AI is basically a browser extension you can have on your browser. And if you're going through case laws on Kenya law, it can summarize a page, it can summarize a YouTube video, you can ask questions about a specific web page. For instance, if I went to Kenya law as this loads, and I'm seeing time is also not on my side. So let me just show you how Marlin works very, very quickly. So I'll come here, the latest case, Musyoki, Mugoka, and co-advocates versus Kiwi Pay Limited. So my Marlin is already installed, and I can just come here and let me just share this tab as that one is loading. So I've gone to Kenya law. This is the latest case law, 28th January. I think this was yesterday's case law. And then I click here, summarize this page. And then immediately you can now discuss, these are the analysis tools I talked about. Okay, I don't know why that's not working. This is also a free tool. You can start utilizing it today. I want one with a PDF on the page. This is a ruling. This is okay. Okay, this is okay. So I'll come here. It's just hovering here. Once you install it, you'll see it on your. Okay, here it is. The High Court of Kenya at Kibera and Criminal Revision 2016, Mulingi versus Republic ruled on January 28, 2015 to release Alex Boniface Mulungi. Mulungi was convicted in 2006 of robbery with violence and initially sentenced to death, later committed to life imprisonment. The court reviewed his sentence, considering prisoner decongestion efforts per Chief Justice memo from December 7, 2022. His positive prison conduct, including participation in training and counseling, and his family support for his rehabilitation led to the judge's decision. As you can see, this is a very short one. But basically, these analysis tools are supposed to get you from now. You've already gotten the case you need. Now, get you to the second step, where is to analyze this case you've found to see whether it meets the standard that you have set for what you actually need for discussion. I'm seeing Notebook LM is still not done. Okay, still not done. Okay, probably will not be able to share with this, but maybe what I would do instead, because I really wanted us to end at 12, I'll maybe do a video and then share to the group. I would like us to join the group for the purposes of just being able to easily communicate with each other. And if you just want to, I'll share this to the group because of time, but I'm hoping that you've gotten the very first step on how to utilize these tools. So I've sent the link to the group, to the WhatsApp group. Please join. If you're not there already, if you're there already, I'll share what Notebook LM finds. I encourage you to try these tools. However, let me complete this slides. So I'll talk about deep analysis tools, which I'll not do that today. So deep analysis tools are tools like DeepSeek or OpenAI O1. These are not search tools. These are tools that are going to help you dissect the subtext and go in depth into understanding what you're really trying to achieve. You know, research is quite specific to the individual who's doing it, but with deep analysis tools like OpenAI O1 or DeepSeek, they allow you to go a step further to, you know, reason with a very intelligent tool. I think OpenAI O1 was rated to have an IQ of around 145 to 150, which is very, very high. So it can help you think about things the way you've not thought about them before, and this can help you with deep analysis. OpenAI O1 is paid, as I said, $20 a month, but DeepSeek is actually free, and you can check it out for free and try and see how these deep reasoning models actually work, especially if you're trying to think about something that is really, really troubling you. So I think this is very important. I cannot end this discussion without going into the ethical consideration. First, there is bias and fairness in the AI algorithms. The way they have been trained, the data that they've been trained on actually determines how they think and how they perceive the world. So you should be very, very cautious on that. Secondly, accuracy and reliability of AI. AI is supposed to augment your abilities. If you're really bad at something, it will show. If you're good at something, it will make it better. So we need to test the accuracy. Even if I'm giving you these tools, they are not one size fits all. You just plug and play. No, you still have to use your legal acumen. You have to use your legal analysis. You have to use all the tools at your disposal to ensure that you are actually getting the kind of quality that you require in your legal practice. Our work is very highly structured, and we need to have a human in the loop. These AIs will not replace us. They will just augment us. And if you're using these tools to replace your own capabilities, you're in for a road shock and you're in for a very, very embarrassing time. So ensure you check on the accuracy and reliability of these tools. They'll take you a step there, but they will not complete the research. We have seen them generate reports, but that should not be your end goal. You should ensure that you put your own insight and input and ensure whatever has been generated is actually to par. Now it's supposed to add on, not completely replace. Another thing we need to talk about is over-reliance on these artificial intelligence tools. We need to understand that these are tools that are supposed to augment our abilities. If you're good at something, they are particularly supposed to make us better at something. So ensure that we do not heavily rely on these tools. Let them make us better. Let them not make us lazier or less competent. As we saw what the judge said, we cannot replace competence. We will just have to augment it. Another thing we need to talk about is privacy and confidentiality. These tools, unless you're actually leveraging them in-house, which you can do if you want to do that, and you're in a very sensitive area of practice, we can talk about that and how we can utilize those tools. So we need to talk about privacy, and I think I'll create another webinar. We'll talk about specifically privacy and confidentiality. These tools actually share information and to train these AI models, especially DeepSeek. You need to read the terms and conditions, and you'll see there are actually big privacy concerns that are there. But if you're going to be sharing sensitive information with these tools, ensure that you anonymize the data, ensure that there is no, for instance, if you're sharing names, ensure it's initials, don't share dates, don't share addresses, don't share those crucial informations with these tools. You can utilize them, but ensure that privacy and confidentiality is at the back end of everything that you're doing. Third, we need to talk about job displacement and new opportunities. I'm not going to lie to you. AI is going to take jobs. It's already taking jobs. If you look at what is happening in China, in their ports, if you look at what is happening to the big major companies with like Meta and Google, they're laying off a lot of their software developers. The only solution to this is to learn how to leverage these tools. And I can tell you that you have already taken a step ahead, and 99.9% of attorneys and advocates out there. What I believe innately is that these tools won't replace lawyers entirely, at least, but a lawyer who is utilizing these tools strategically, efficiently, and effectively will actually replace the lawyer who does not, because they'll be able to do their work faster, they'll be able to improve the quality of their work, they'll be able to take up more clients, and initially they'll take your foot. So ensure that you are at the not just the cutting edge. I know our group is called on the cutting edge. You need to be on the bleeding edge. And again, I encourage you, join the group. I share updates every day there, almost every day. And I'm sure we are going to learn together, because it's a very uncertain time. We have very, very quick changes, but I hope that we will be able to traverse this savannah together. So, and with that, I'm not going to take up questions right now. Please, if you have any questions, just type them in the group and I'll try to respond to them. I don't want to take up more of your time. I see we're already 10 minutes above. I'll conclude the conversation there. But if you want to reach out, my phone number is there, 0799157696. My email address is there, robinmutiga@gmail.com. You can find me on LinkedIn at Robin Muthomi. You can find me on X on Robin Muthomi. I've already shared the link to the group. You can also just start the conversation there. I'm hoping we'll learn together, we'll grow together 2025. And with that, thank you for listening in. Thank you for taking the time to join this webinar. And I'm hoping to do this every single month. So I'll send a survey. Please just tell me what you'd want me to talk about next, so that we can, grow and build together. So with that, thank you, and have a lovely day. Please do not hesitate to share any question, any information you need. I'll share these slides as soon as I can. I know last time I took more time than was required. So thank you for taking the time. Feel free to reach out anytime. And with that, have a blessed day. I believe you can start leveraging these tools today. If you had a problem today, I'm sure you can. Okay. Any question setting this up? Just reach out. Thank you. Have a blessed day.